Many companies conflate psychopathy with leadership, and it's costing them a lot of money and us the desire to work for them. In this video, I'm going to tell you what unwritten rules of work interplay here and what we can do about it. I'm Dr. Anna Qualschmidt. I research the unwritten rules of work for the working class, neurodivergence, and intersections of race and gender. The unwritten rules of work are the real operating system of organizations. They're not written down anywhere, but they're how people get ahead. And in some places, they're not written down to be shady, but in others, they're not written down because the people who designed the system just thought it was normal behavior. But for most of the population, across class, race, gender, neurotype, etc., it's not normal behavior. Navigating these unwritten rules is very hard for people who don't come from these families that start these companies. And psychopaths are masters of unwritten rules. One of the unwritten rules of work is schmoozing, which is a nice way to say ass kissing. Psychopaths are great at this because they know how to turn on the charm when someone empowers around them, even if all the people around them know that they're faking it. This system rewards knowing these unwritten rules over actual competence most of the time, unless you intentionally build mitigation strategies into your culture to prevent this. Without these mitigations, unwritten rules can be reinforcing toxic behavior at work. But not every charmer is a psychopath. So how do you distinguish someone who just has charisma from someone who has charisma and psychopathy or narcissism? I've been talking a lot about this book I just read, Why Do So Many Incompetent Men Become Leaders? And this author is the same author of the HBR article that I showed in the beginning. He reviews research on how psychopaths disproportionately make up leadership positions because they know how to get to the top by kissing enough ass, but they sharply and negatively impact actual organizational performance. So the fact that we have so many in power is a problem. What can you do to mitigate this? Abusers can fool everyone above them because that's when they turn on the charm, but they don't usually fool the people below them. The author of this book talks about a research study where people before promotions ask their subordinates to rate their leader on psychopathy. They didn't say what it was, but they administered the scale for psychopathy, and they were able to identify people to promote who did not have these traits. Being charismatic can be a good thing. You have to build relationships in business, but a moderate amount of charisma is what this author recommends so that you're not blinded by their charm, so that you don't look at their actual competence or ethics. In this article, the same author talks about the research where having a psychopath in leadership bleeds your organization dry because they make terrible decisions, and there's also increases of bullying, theft, sabotage, absenteeism, and turnover when they're in charge, which does have dollar amounts. Blindly rewarding the unwritten rule of schmoozing is costing companies millions. This is why you need to understand what the unwritten rules of work are and how they're impacting your firm or organization. My book comes out this fall talking about what all of them are, and I have a free chapter available online. The link is in my bio. You don't have to wait until the book comes out, though. You can book a time slot with me on my website. Up here at the top, the first 20 minutes are free. Let's talk about what you need to identify if your organization has any of these unwritten pain points.